workout from home, number 15. That's what it is here at the Four Bells Fitness Emporium. We are focusing on another upper body day. Our current 6-week cycle is working on push-ups. So as I've said before, programming is pretty straightforward. Monday, we focus on push-ups. Wednesday, some kind of lower body day, squatting or deadlifting of some kind. Friday is another upper body day to supplement the focus of our training. So today, our focus is going to be on dips, upper body pressing, and some kind of upper body pulling, ideally chin-ups, or some kind of row, depending on what you have available. So let's talk about the warm-up first of all. With our warm-up today, we are doing 3 movements. 2 of those movements are taken from a warm-up we do very regularly here at the Four Bells, called the 5 rights. Actually, we technically do the 4 out of 5 rights in Tibetan yoga. We are going to start off with the pump, which we're going to do for 10 reps today. Hilarious name, great exercise. Second one we're going to do today is the tabletop, a great exercise that works on shoulder extension, our ability to bring our arm behind us, which is what we need for dips. We're going to do that for 10 reps. And then the last one we're going to do is an easy dip. So I find for a lot of people, particularly if you're at desk work and particularly if you're at home now, a lot more than you normally are, shoulders are tight everywhere. So I like to make sure that everyone does a few easy sets of dips to make sure the shoulders are feeling good before we make things more challenging. So let's talk about those 3 movements very quickly. The pump is basically, if you're into yoga, a downward facing dog looking position into an up dog kind of position. The idea here is we're looking to open the shoulders, also stretch out the posterior chain, open the hips, mobilize the low back. It does a lot of things all at once. So to set up for this position, quite straightforward. I have the hands directly below the shoulders, knees directly below the hips. I'm going to dig my toes into the floor, hips to the ceiling. And from here, I'm trying to open the shoulders, trying to get my head towards my toes as I drive my heels towards the floor. From here, I'm just going to bring my hips forwards, looking up to the ceiling, mobilizing the low back, trying to open those hips and trying to open up the spine a little bit. Send the hips to the ceiling, hips up, hips down. We're going to go up and down 10 times. That's the pump. Stupid name, great exercise. From there, when it comes to the tabletop position, the tabletop position means that we should be starting in an L-sit. In this L-sit position, the first test is, how do my hamstrings and my calves feel? If they feel super tight just sitting here at an L-sit, we should be stretching them more often. If you're not sure how, send me a message. From there, I'm going to start with my hands by my hips. Do you want fingers forward, fingers to the side, fingers back? It really depends on what feels good for your shoulders. I take the hands and I drive them into the floor. There's 2 reasons why you won't be able to. 1, you've got stubby arms like a T-Rex. 2, you've got a big booty. Neither make you a bad person, so don't worry about it. I push into the floor, hips to the ceiling, tabletop position, really trying to open up those shoulders. As I come down, bum just grazes the floor, and I come back up into the next rep. So you may find hamstrings are the issue, you may find hips are the issue, you may find shoulders are the issue. Totally up to you how high you want to go and how far you can move, depending on how your body is made. Last but not least, an easy dip. So, if you've got dip bars, happy days. If you need a bench, that's fine. But it should be pretty easy, which means my hands, as always, should be by the hips when I'm doing a dip. And I like to start with the knees nice and bent. I'm going to bring the shoulder below the elbow and then come up to full extension at the top. Again, this should be easy. Doesn't mean I'm just flopping my way through. It should move with intention, but it shouldn't be a hard dip. So we're doing the pump here for 10 reps. We are doing the tabletop for 10 reps. We're doing an easy dip for 5 reps. We're doing that 3 times, and that is warm-up. Workout from home, number 15. It's the strength piece. As we've spoke about before, to supplement our press-up, that's an English term, the push-up day we're doing on Mondays. Today, on our Friday, or our 3rd workout of the week, we do upper body work to supplement and help that work. So we are doing dips and chin-ups today, or some kind of upper body pulling. Our strength piece is 5 sets. Each set 3 minutes long. Within that 3-minute window, we are doing a superset of upper body pushing with upper body pulling. Dips today can be done at home or at the gym with dip bars, but our rep scheme, 5 to 10, really depends on what we have available and the intensity of the movement we're trying to do. So for example, if you have dip bars at home, then you can do 5 dips and you can find a way to make them very challenging. So for example, let's say you can do dips and you can find a way to add weight to yourself, then I would keep those reps a little bit lower, keep them at 5 if the intensity, the difficulty level is high. If you're at home where you've only got access to maybe your hands on a bench or the edge of the couch, then and that intensity level is lower, then I would keep the reps higher. So if the intensity is high, reps low. If the intensity is low, reps high. That's how it should be done. When it comes to our pulling, if I have a chin-up bar available, it should be 5 chin-ups. If you don't have chin-ups available, or you can't do a chin-up rather, but you can do negatives, then maybe 5 is not for you, maybe it's just 3 reps. So again, always playing around with what you have available. If you don't have a chin-up bar, but at home you maybe have some TRX straps, or you have some rings to do some rows, or maybe you have 2 dumbbells, 2 kettlebells, or even just 1 kettlebell or 1 dumbbell, then I would say 10 reps is what we should be doing on a row instead. So if we're at home and we're doing dips, then maybe we could use a bench. So you might be able to use the edge of the stairs, a bench, the couch, countertop if you're being careful. But the thing to remember is that when I am doing them from a flat surface rather than dip bars, is that to set up, my hips are going to have to be in front of my hands, which means that it could put extra stress on the front of the shoulder. So always think about how do my shoulders feel when I'm doing my dips, particularly if we're trying to raise the intensity. So hands should be just outside of the hips as normal. I'm going to move those hips forwards a little bit, but the shoulder should still be becoming below the elbow as I do my dips. If you want to make them more difficult, my advice is raise the feet, and if you can, find some way to add some weight to your lat, if you can do it without losing the weight or hurting yourself. We had someone the other day who was using a cat. So I recommend cats as always in workouts. If you have dip bars available and you're in your home gym and you have dip bars available, happy days. As we did in our warm-up, maybe you're doing dips now with the legs straight. Maybe you're doing dips with your feet on a box. Again, if you can find some way to add some weight onto your lap, or you have someone at home who can help you, then feel free to do that to try and increase that intensity. If you have dip bars that can be a little bit higher, then it could be body weight dips. But as always, I should be getting the shoulder below the elbow when I'm doing my dips. Of course, if you can find a way to make the dips more intense, we should. So if the dip is very difficult, I'd say closer to 5 reps. If the dip is a little bit easier for you, then I'd say closer to 10. And of course, play around with what you have available. When it comes to upper body pulling, chin-ups is the aim of the game. So if I can, with my chin-up, I should be having my hands just outside of shoulder width with the intention of me drawing my elbows back past the body. So you might be jumping up, holding your chin over, and then doing a nice controlled negative on the way down, or you could just be doing a regular chin-up. If you maybe have straps available, maybe it's going to be some ring rows or a TRX row for you for 10 reps. If you don't have those guys available, but maybe you have 2 dumbbells or 2 kettlebells, it could be a bent over row. Or even, maybe just, let me switch that so you can see it, maybe just a bent over row with 1 arm for 10 reps. So again, as always, play around with what you have available, play around with the intensity and the rep scheme, and if you've got any questions, ask. Alright, so the conditioning piece is quite straightforward today. We have 3 movements. One of them has a fairly, I wouldn't say super high, but high-ish skill component to it. The second one is more about making sure we get quality out of the movement, and the third one is an abdominal bracing position where we just have to think about protecting our spine. So we're going to talk about all 3 of those movements separately, but let's talk about what the workout is first of all. The first thing to note is that it is a 15-minute AMRAP. So AMRAP stands for as many rounds or reps, depending on your workout, as possible. Which means we're going to go through these 3 movements in a big circuit for 15 minutes. That is the aim of the game today. With our first exercise we are doing a kettlebell snatch for 10 reps per side, which means I'm going to do all 10 reps on one side and then all 10 reps on the other. When it comes to the kettlebell snatch, which we're going to talk about in a second, if I'm not comfortable with doing a kettlebell snatch, I'm always getting smashed in the wrist, which is one of the big things that can happen, then it could be a kettlebell high pull, or it could be just a kettlebell swing for 10 per side. If you don't have a kettlebell available, you could maybe do a clean and press or a clean and push press with a dumbbell. From there, we are going to do a 6CB, which stands for 6 count burpee. We're going to go over how to do the 6 count burpee. We'll be doing that for 10 reps today. Last but not least, our ab piece is going to be an ab wheel rollout for 10 reps. If you have an ab wheel, happy days. If you don't have an ab wheel, we have a few options for you in terms of what you can do instead. So, kettlebell snatches. To put it simply, to teach you how to do a kettlebell snatch in like a minute on YouTube is a big ask. I don't know if you know how to hinge well, I'm hoping you do, and I don't know if you spent the time to practice it. So what I'm going to do is just show you the 3 options of what you can do depending on your comfort level. First of all, the first thing to remember is if I'm doing a kettlebell snatch where the kettlebell comes from the hip to overhead, which we're going to talk about in a second, is that I need to have a good hinging position first. Can I push the hips back, load the hamstring, load the glute, and drive the hip forward first? That's what I need. So the first base level is just, can I do a kettlebell swing with one hand? So I'm going to push the hips back, drive the hips forwards, and that's my kettlebell swing. If the swing looks good, from here it can be a high pull, where I drive the hip, pull the elbow back, and that kettlebell comes to the top of the head. If from there that's feeling good, then I can punch through and bring my kettlebell overhead. There is a fair amount of subtle nuance in getting your kettlebell snatch right and getting the timing right. So, if you're not sure how to do it, send us a message. We will happily either get you in the gym when we're allowed, or we can even do like a little chat over the phone, or maybe a Zoom conference call. But that is what we should be thinking about with the kettlebell snatch. It's either a swing, a high pull, or a snatch, 10 per side. So, controversial statement time. I don't like burpees that are kind of just floppy and noodly. I don't like just flopping to the floor and then just flopping back up somehow, somewhere. To me, that just feels like a waste of time. The flop down, flop up. What I prefer with a burpee is 6 distinct steps that have some progress attached to them, i.e., do I know I can continually perform push-ups well? Can I get into a good squat position? Can I make sure I'm in a nice tight plank? Can I jump nice and high? Can I clap my hands? Rather than doing something that's a little bit sloppy. So when it comes to our 6 count burpee, it has 6 steps. Step number 1 is do a squat. Step number 2 is hands on the floor, jump out to a plank. Step 3 is chest down in the push-up. Step 4 is back up to the top of that plank. Step 5 is jump the feet in. Step 6, jump and clap. So in a workout scenario, it's a little faster. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just making sure that things aren't wormy, aren't floppy, aren't gross. We've got a nice movement in there that has distinct quality. A beautiful push-up, beautiful squat, nice big jump. That's a 6 count burpee. Ab wheels, ab wheel rollouts more specifically. We're doing 10 of them in our conditioning piece today. When it comes to setting up for an ab wheel, one of the biggest complaints I hear about ab wheel rollouts is when I do them, my low back hurts. So I've got to make sure my setup is right. When I set up for my ab wheel rollout, if we're doing them on the knees, like a regular human, if you are a complete ninja, you might be able to do them on your toes, but I recommend starting on the knees. We've got to make sure that the ab wheel is close to the mat I'm kneeling on. I'm almost in like a little gorilla position. I don't want to start with my wheel a long way away from the knees. I want to round the low back. So if you remember hollow body holds from Monday, we are going to suck the belly in, round the low back, brace the abs as if someone's going to come along and kick me in the stomach. From here, I lead with the hips first. Hips come first, then the arms come out, and then from there, arms come back in, hips come back in. What we find too often is that people will lead with the hips out, Then the arms come out, and then they do what we call the stripper rollout, where we lead with the hip, arms come out, and then from there it's hang as we push the bum back. Do not be a stripper in your rollouts if you can avoid it. Keep the abs tight, hips, arms, arms, hips. If you don't have an ab wheel available, you could use a foam roller. Here is a fresh one. It's got plastic on it. I'm going to start by setting up that low back position, and I'm just going to slowly walk the hands out. It gets more challenging the further away I go, and then from there, I slowly walk myself back in. You might find in the conditioning piece, if you were to do 10 of those, it would take you forever. So maybe drop those reps down to maybe 5 to 8, depending on how long it takes. If you don't have either available, then what you can do is like a Superman plank walkout. I'm in a plank position. All I'm going to do is walk the hands out as far as possible, hold for a second, walk the hands back in, pause for a second, walk the hands out, pause, and go back and forth for 10 reps. So our conditioning piece today, 15-minute AMRAP, 10 on one arm, 10 of the other of a kettlebell snatch. We are then doing 10 6-count burpees and 10 ab wheel rollouts. See you.